mosaic identities, construction of team culture. What a question! In these times of high complexity, this is the most important question we can ask each other. I'm Joanna Zell. I came originally from Poland. I'm an intercultural trainer, coach and facilitator. I'm very happy to have my own company, Intercultural Compass. I would love to give guidance to all the people who are moving in the intercultural field. And a happy member of the Beyond Storytelling team, organizing different events, conferences, and also co-writing 2 books on storytelling. That is the issue my heart is beating for. Originally, I am a creative person who focused on coaching and intercultural trainings and workshops for people who are dealing with team members, employees from other cultures, especially for different companies. Some global players, some middle-sized companies, also small companies. And the other is that I offer intercultural workshops for students at 2 German universities in northern Germany. This is where I'm based. I decided to apply the narrative approach in my work. So, I'm working a lot with people in different contexts, and I have decided to work more and more with storytelling, story sharing, above all story listening as well, so that people can contribute better with higher motivation, whatever projects they are involved in. I assume at the very beginning, when I started working as an intercultural consultant, trainer and coach, I acted very similarly as lots of people in the field. So I worked a lot with cultural dimensions, cultural standards, and realized that while addressing all these approaches, not only me, but in general, the people in the field, we sometimes even created the cultural stereotypes or deepened them. And people simply stayed at the cognitive level. Okay, so I'm dealing with a team member from, a very group-oriented culture. That's why the person behaves the way he or she does. And it gives an explanation for the behavior maybe, or it gives a description, but it doesn't change the behavior of the observer. So I discovered that what we urgently need, especially in intercultural relations and especially for multicultural teams, is the deeper level of understanding. Not only to understand at the cognitive level what's going on with us, but also at the emotional level. So what is actually triggering me? How people make me curious? What is the bigger context? Because, when we work with storytelling, automatically we give much more context. Every story transmits the bigger picture, and this is the possibility that the new facts, something that might be very, very exotic to us because it doesn't simply exist in our culture, get a new meaning. So it's also about meaning making. It's also about enabling to have these new facts sleep in the new slot in the brain. When we just stay at this level of this is how it works in whatever culture, we simply put these pieces of information into old slots, and people don't have any chance to re-narrate, reframe their behavior. So this is one of the reasons why storytelling works perfectly. Another reason is actually that we need to create the space of psychological safety. In the multicultural teams, people from the very beginning might feel really insecure because they are aware of the fact that different people can perceive whatever they say, whatever they do in different ways. And what they really need is to have the atmosphere of trust and also of the safe space where they are allowed to show vulnerability, but are also allowed to have interpersonal risk-taking, yeah? So that they are allowed to risk more and they won't get criticized just in general, just the opposite. They are going to be kind of rewarded for speaking up and bringing a new perspective. This is the purpose of the multicultural teams, that it leaves from this multiple perspectives. I would like to deal with one myth in the field, and the myth is that whoever talks about working in multicultural or intercultural teams, in the first shot we are thinking of national, regional or ethnical roots, and this is just one layer. Just to give you an example, first of all, currently in the global world, there are people who are either adult third culture kids, so growing up in different countries than the country of origin of their parents, or they are people who are just working internationally across borders, switching languages from one minute to another, thinking because of that in different patterns, and dealing with intercultural differences in everyday life. So when I was the team leader of a fantastic team in one of the voluntary organizations, Ciutat Europa, Ciutat Europe, there were people who were, for example, originally from Jamaica, working in Ireland, originally from Iran, based in Austria. She was my boss. And then my team members, the US American based in France, or a person from Belgium with vast experience all over Africa. So all these cultures obviously impacted their behavior. They were aware of the points, they were aware of the challenges. But what actually was the biggest challenge in this team was the difference between the so-called digital natives and people who had some struggles with the technical gadgets. So, this is something we have to consider as well. Not only the cultural impact, the so-called cultural impact, but also things like gender, age, dealing with technique and with the digitalization in general. And this enriches the experience a lot, so that we are talking about this mosaic culture and cultural identities, and not just people from culture A dealing with people with, some influences from culture B. Yeah? Because it's not our global space anymore. It's not the reality of cooperation. We have to address the issue of different leadership models, because of course in China you can encounter both really young people who have gathered their experience abroad, and that's why they are addressing brainstorming, they are introducing new methods, they are really eager to introduce processes like Scrum, yeah? And this is also what is working currently. And of course those people who are the same age, nevertheless they haven't gathered the experience abroad, and they tend to act top-down as leaders. Yeah? So this is also pretty subtle. It's really, really challenging to find the balance between generalizations and talking about individual approaches. It was my experience also with one of the teams I'm involved with, that it's also about showing vulnerability. The moment when we address the vulnerability in our team, the issue of commitment was popping up in completely new light, so that people really shared what was important for them, when were the moments when they were insecure, and it was just like, the feeling of going to another level, more advanced level, with much more motivation, much more commitment, much more responsibility for the entire project. So in my case, I was extremely grateful for this experience, even though it was painful. Another point is that what really works in this case is, of course, story sharing, that you get to know each other better way, that you know with what emotions people are dealing, not only with what facts they can fit your project. And second of all, I guess we need to focus on situational leadership. And the situational leadership says that you actually apply your leadership competencies to the people you are leading. This is the mixture between motivation and skills. So when you have people who have got really high skills and high motivation, this is a dream work, because you can outsource your tasks. You can really say, okay, wow, I rely on you. This is what you are going to take over from me. You are developing, and we are really this, high performance team. But of course, la vie en rose never exists. So you've got also people who are not as motivated, and these are the people you need to pull a little bit, because of course they've got great skills. That's why they are part of the team, and still you have to pay attention to their competencies, but also to their level of motivation. So this is also a little bit of more guidance and of more, as I'm said, pulling. It's not about creating black and white scenarios, just like, about talking, these are people from China, these are people from France, these are people from Poland, that's why they act this and that way. Other way around, it's just about looking at the people, how they act, how they behave, and applying these different leadership skills accordingly, not only to the person in this project, but also accordingly to the situation. So this is also something team leaders have to be aware of. So, have you ever experienced that your team member wasn't as motivated as you wished? Or maybe the person was dealing with culture shock and couldn't be really productive in the collaboration? Or the person has relocated somewhere and, was completely overwhelmed with the entire process, and it didn't really work the way you hoped he or she would. For all these issues, for all these moments, the very first step might be the intercultural training and coaching. Because all these processes are huge challenges and huge changes that need to be supported. And this is what I would like to encourage you to do, to offer the people this support. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to be part of the process. So contact me. Culture is a set of stories.